The Star Wars galaxy is home to an abundance of very unique and intriguing characters. And when you have a cast this diverse and open-ended, the creative mind can't help but go wild and create stories for all these characters, even though they may only have a few seconds of screen time. And this goes all the way back to 1977 when you first entered the Mos Eisley Cantina with Luke and Obi-Wan. You enter and you are greeted by a sea of characters that just illustrates the vastness of the Star Wars galaxy and what it's really like. But the reality of the situation is that some of these aliens were just masks the special effects artist Rick Baker made years before Star Wars was even a thing. He just had them lying around, ready for George Lucas to take his pick. But part of the magic of Star Wars is that those few seconds of screen time for these throwaway monsters and aliens branched off into vibrant cultures and stories. It's taking something ordinary and turning it into something extraordinary, which is a theme from previous videos. For example, Hem Dazon, the Arcona who's addicted to salt. Like what? Muftak, the pickpocket Tals who was abandoned on Tatooine as a newborn. And Moma Naden, an Ithorian who was exiled from his homeworld for sharing agricultural secrets with the Empire. This guy's just a werewolf, and this guy is quote, devil guy. But by today's standards, he's a Deveronian, one of the most cunning species in the galaxy. In 1999, this level of world building was achieved again for my generation when the prequels came out and we saw all those cool looking Jedi in the temple. Like Oporancisis, a Thespiasian, that can't be right, a Thespiasian Jedi Master. That's actually a pretty bad example because this guy's like 80% snake and snakes scared the shit out of me. But then you got guys like Coleman Trevor, who's a straight up dinosaur Jedi, so he's automatically awesome. Oh, never mind, he dies almost instantly. The point I'm trying to make is that even though these characters only have a few seconds of screen time, people still have the audacity to put one on top and crown as their favorite. And I'm guilty of this too. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Yarael Poof, whom I share a striking resemblance with. Yarael Poof, made famous by Robot Chicken, has a very impressive Jedi resume, and we'll get to that soon. But first, I'll just share some fun facts with you. Yarael Poof is a Quermian Jedi Master. Quermians are a species created by the Arcanian scientists. Arcanians are like the Altmer of Star Wars, or they're like the Dwemer of Star Wars. I'm not sure, they're both pricks. They have a scientifically advanced society, primarily in the field of bioengineering, and that society also revolves around a stern caste system, and they have a strict belief in genetic purity. They created the Quermarians from the Zetso species. Basically, they just took a Zetso and just like stretched them out even more. Then the Arcanians terraformed a whole ass planet appropriately named Quermia, and basically just watched the Quermians evolve like they're their own personal ant farm. Eventually, the Arcanians were like, you know, I bet what we're doing here isn't exactly legal. So they just like left the Quermians alone. Little did they know that they just created some of the galaxy's best diplomats and scholars. But did my ants become the best diplomats and scholars? No, they all died. And that's how I learned that ants don't eat dirt. They just like move it around and shit. But the Arcanians made some creative choices when creating the Quermians. Like they have two brains, which gave them a type of telepathy, but at the cost of mental problems. I mean, hey, don't we all? They had two sets of arms, and no spine, which allowed them to do some crazy lightsaber tricks. And no nose. Instead, they smelled with olfactory glands in their hands, which must have made wiping their asses absolutely miserable. Because, I mean, hey, everybody poops, right? There's nothing in these Wikipedia articles to say that they don't poop, so they must poop. Yarael Poof poops. Yarael poops. Do you poop? Are you pooping right now? Am I making videos for people to watch just while they're pooping? Let me know in the comments what you're doing right now, and if it's pooping. But now let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend himself. Yarael Poof was known for a lot of things during his 200-year tenure as a Jedi, such as the establishment of the Starlight Beacon, a space station dedicated to help navigate through a dangerous area of space, whatever that means. Initiating the Guardian Protocols, a list of rules to help deal with the Nihil conflict. The Nihil were like a group of anarchists who had a weapon that Jedi were weak to. That's a very long story from the High Republic series, so if you want to learn more about it, there's some reading material for you. He helped with the renewal of the planet Quinn, where he even helped establish the world's theater company. So he's a theater geek on top of everything else. He used battle meditation, which was pivotal during the Stark Hyperspace War. He trained Roran Korob, the most metal Jedi ever. And he also aided in the defense of the Jedi Temple during the Yanchori Uprising, which was basically a bunch of mean T-Rex looking guys, influenced by Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious. The Yanchori were just trying to conquer whatever they could and whoever they could, as fast as they could, but secretly they were being tested to see if they could be the source material for a secret clone army. They weren't even close. So if you want to read more about that, it's the Jedi Council Acts of War series. But Yarael Poof is probably most famous for being the hero of Coruscant, when he teamed up with Jango Fett to stop Ashar Korda, another mean-looking dinosaur guy. Ashar Korda was in the possession of the Infants of Shah, an artifact capable of destroying whole-ass worlds via massive disturbances in the Force. After Poof tracked the artifact and Korda down to a power relay, he and Jango Fett and Zam Wesell defeated Korda and his lackeys, only for Poof to be stabbed by a greasy, not actually dead Ashar Korda.
Oh, that's greasy. That's really fucking greasy.
Yeah, it's greasy.
Greasy.
But Jango Fett blasted him in retaliation. Then Poof was able to use what remains of his energy to neutralize the artifact, thus save the trillions of lives on Coruscant, thus dying an absolute legend. So what is Yarael Poof's legacy? Yarael Poof was an honored member of the Jedi Order, who some would consider to be the epitome of what a Jedi is supposed to be. He was a master of the Force, a master swordsman, and a master of impressions.
Hey everyone, I'm Yoda! Talk weird I do!
He was known for having a mischievous side and enjoyed playing tricks and poking fun at his colleagues, especially Ki-Adi-Mundi, which is good because that guy is too stuck up with his "I'm allowed to have 5 wives and 7 children because my species has a low birth rate." Like, yeah bro, we know what you're up to. We can see through the lies of the Jedi too. Poof also had many Force abilities, primarily Force illusions and mind tricks, and also telekinesis, which I bet came in handy when it was time to wipe his ass. He also made some mean mac and cheese and had a wicked sense of self-awareness. But everything that I have mentioned so far has come from canon and non-canon material. In some of these pictures he has a yellow lightsaber, in some he has blue, in some he's wearing white robes with his 2 extra arms showing their asses, in others he's wearing brown robes with his extra arms hidden. So which is the real Yarael Poof? Is it the one that died in 22 BBY or the one that died in 27 BBY? It doesn't matter, because neither of them are real. That's the defining characteristic of science fiction, and in terms of the debate if something is canon or not, for the most part that doesn't matter either. You say, yeah bro, but it's not canon. You're arguing that it didn't actually happen. Well, none of it actually happened. Star Wars isn't real, it's all made up. It's a galaxy full of stories that are meant to entertain and inspire, not be gospel. Yeah, it's fair to want some level of consistency, but guys, there's so much stuff. Some stuff is gonna get missed, but that doesn't mean it's trash. But what I'm really trying to say is that a story doesn't need to be labeled as canon or not for it to matter, because what really matters is what the story means to you. If you relate to it, or if you sympathize with it, if you're inspired by it, and that's the whole point of art. Yes, I understand the pretentiousness that comes with calling Star Wars art, but that's what it is at the end of the day. Storytelling is an art form, and the overall meaning of it is up to the individual. Arguing over which real made-up thing is the real made-up thing that happened is how religious wars start. When in reality, we just gotta let people like what they like and move on. Within reason, of course. Speak out against injustice, because peace without justice is flawed. His words, not mine. Thank you and take care.
We must always strive for peace, but also justice. Peace without justice is flawed, hollow at its core. It is the peace provided by tyranny.